I got an Ohuhu sketchbook. Okay, so I've been wanting one of these for a while now because of the shape and just I've seen a lot of cool YouTubers with these and I love the layout of the sketchbook, so I wanted to try it for myself. This is the Ohuhu mixed media sketchbook and I literally got it a couple hours ago. It arrived in the mail. I was like really happy. I just kind of zoned out, admired the texture. And I've decided that I'm going to do a decoration episode thingy, yada yada yada. And that's what we're going to be doing today. For those who don't know me, hi, my name is Slug or Slugs, and welcome to my YouTube. I do already have a sketchbook, and I did plan to use it for my YouTube. However, I ended up not posting much in the time period that I used this sketchbook because of assessments and whatnot with school. I'm almost done that sketchbook, which means that I need a new sketchbook for when I start filming more YouTube videos. And that's going to be this sketchbook. This is sketchbook number 2, and today, as I said before, we're going to just decorate it. But yeah, first though, I am going to open it. Opening the sketchbook, I was like really nervous I was going to accidentally break it, so you can't really tell because it's sped up, but I was really slow when taking off the plastic and getting this stuff out because I didn't want to damage it, you know. The sketchbook came with like a silicone mat to stop bleed through, and it also came with a pocket in the back to store like loose paper, which I thought was like really cool. This sketchbook is just gorgeous. Like, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, you kind of can, but the texture is absolutely gorgeous. This is a very thick one and I love it. It was 78 pages, that is 156 pages to draw on total. Usually I work with 120 or 150, so this is going to be a fun little challenge. It's only 6 extra pages, but when it comes to sketchbooks, that goes quite a long way. For the sketchbook, I had the idea of doing it in chronological rainbow order. So I'd have pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, no red because I don't like red. And everything else, like the welcome page and goodbye page and whatnot, would be like white and silver with rainbows and whatnot. I really love colours, so I wanted to experiment a lot with how I use colours in the sketchbook. Anyway, you guys are probably sick with me yapping, so I'm just going to start decorating. Alright, so I'm going to start the sketch just with like paint marker because I'm going to paint my sketchbook cover, but I have a reference image on my phone that I need to look at, so I'm going to do the sketch off camera, but I will do the paint on camera. Anyway, I will see you on the flip side. Trust the process. So I'm going to be voiceovering a lot of this video because I was just really locked into getting this done and I didn't really want to talk and explain what I was doing while I was doing it. So I'm just doing it now with the voiceover. With this sketch, I was just so nervous I was going to ruin the sketchbook cover. I did not like the sketch at all. I thought it was like horrendous at first, and then I think it got worse as I added paint because I was like, oh no, the colours aren't working, shapes, all this yada yada yada. But like, you really gotta trust the process, and it's yeah. I'm just glad that I trusted the process because it was so dang ugly in the beginning. But it works out, it ends up looking good in the end. It just takes a good couple layers of paint. Also, in the top left corner, you will notice head and frame counts. When I'm like really focused, I will put my entire face into whatever I am doing. It's a bad habit and an old habit, but I figured it might be something a little bit comedical to add into my videos, because it happens so much because I am so unself-aware of my camera and where it is. So that's just going to keep going up and up and up throughout this little time lapse. Earlier in the video, I said I wanted to do a chronological rainbow order sketchbook with like white, silver themes in the pages that weren't like sketchbook pages, like the welcome page, the front cover, like whatnot, having that kind of cloud and rainbow aesthetic. I ended up abandoning this idea because I was like, yes, this is cool, but this isn't exactly what I am into as an individual. So I end up just going with like my usual whimsical colours, swirls, bugs, insects, flowers. And in the final product of this speed paint, I really think that all shines through, and I really do believe I achieved this. Anyway, pulling out my trusty little hand dryer to speed up the drying process because I was just so sick and tired of waiting for the paint to dry. Because of the texture of the sketchbook, I had to go over it like so many times with the base color for my beetle. I did this like 3 to 4 times, I can't remember. But it was a lot. It was a lot of layers. Originally I wanted the painting to be very like smooth and flat, but then as I continued to paint it, it ends up being like really textured, which I think I quite like a lot more than it being a flat painting. The texture of this sketchbook was like really interesting to work on because it's got like this it's got like a hind texture. I don't know if you've ever been around like cows or cattle, but they'll usually have like a line of hair on their back, and then it kind of like splits off as it goes down like their ribs and whatnot, and it has like a flowing pattern. It kind of reminded me of that, if I'm being honest, just the way the texture like moved along the sketchbook and where different ridges and lumps were like placed. Not ridges and lumps, grooves. It's grooves, not But the texture was very interesting to work with, and it was a big challenge, honestly, because painting you usually work on a flat surface with that. So maneuvering that and making sure that I get a full coverage of paint while also working around the texture was just, it was interesting. It was a fun challenge, to be honest. This is the part where I really had to trust the process, because I added that purplish pink color and I was absolutely hating it. So I go in with my favorite color, green. Well, it's not my favorite color. Yellow is actually my favorite color. Green is just the color I use the most. But I was trying so hard to get this to look good. And it got to the point where I was kind of getting frustrated with the painting. But it's a matter of just trusting the process, as I've said before, and just getting the layering done and then adding the final touches. So I'm glad that I did kind of trust the process and not just paint over it. Look at my very gorgeous hair. I am so sorry, guys. You're probably seeing more of my scalp than you guys are seeing the speed paint. I will try to do better in the future, but I have no promises, because as I said before, when I get really hyper focused, I'll just shove my face into it. Or the amount of times that I get my head, like full head, into the camera, and it's just ridiculous. at this point I was doing some like really fine outlining and working with the paint, so I kind of needed to pull the book off camera so I could like really focus on getting into the little crooks and nannies that I was trying to fill up with paint. Which, if you're a fellow painter like me, getting all the little itty bitty details without covering up what you've already painted is like such a pain in the ass, man. Oh my god. But I managed, and I didn't go over the top of anything else that I had previously painted, which was good. That was a pat on the back for you, slug. Coming in again with my trusty little hairdryer, because again, I'm just really impatient and I really wanted to get this done. Like, this isn't even funny anymore, how much of the camera is just... Oh, the footage is just all my head. It's all my head and it's ridiculous. I'm so sorry, guys. Ooh. Anyway, how is everyone? How's everyone's 2026 going? What are you guys up to? It's raining here at the moment, which is why I think I just wanted to get this done, because the rain is just really, really nice. We got like 50 milliliters, I think, in the span of like 30 minutes, which was absolutely ear bleeding, especially on a tin roof. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's happy. Anyway, going in with this yellowish green tone to do a little bit more highlighting. This is kind of the point where I start to really love the painting. Looking back at it, I do wish I used a different pink, but it is still a very nice shade of pink, methinks. And I do believe I end up covering it with like a lighter pink. Yeah, I'm mixing it now. And I end up mixing up way too much paint for what I covered, because I wanted it to be like really light and pastel, and my paints are really pigmented, so I had to get white and like more white in there like 3 different times. I've just got like 3 big dollops of like different shades of like light pink, and I hate wasting paint, so I do end up finding a use for them later in the speed paint. But at the time I was so anxious that I was just gonna have unused paint. I hate not using paint. I hate leftover paint. Ugh. But like this beetle, it took me over an hour to paint. Like, oh, it was just horrendous how long it took, considering it is like so small. This is like the size of my hand, and ooh. Usually I can paint a beetle really fast, but I haven't used acrylic paint in like yoinks, so it was like really hard getting back on the horse and just going ham with it. But I think I did alright, considering I haven't touched acrylic paint in, like I said before, yoinks. I don't really know what to yap about. Like, there was so little going on with the painting as I was painting it, and I don't really have much to talk about at the moment. Oh, I started adding highlights to the beetle, I'm pretty sure at this point. Yeah, I was doing yellow highlights because yellow looks good on green. The beetle ends up looking like really juicy, and oh, I love it. What I don't love is how much paint has flicked off onto the black space and how much has smudged into it. That was so annoying, especially when the rest of the space was still blank, and I was like really anxious about how it was going to turn out with all the paint and whatnot smudged all over the blank space. Anyway, with my spare paint, I'm just going in and painting some flowers, because as I did say before, I absolutely despise wasting paint or massive amounts of paint. Also, I wanted to just cover up the blank space. I'm a very maximalist person. I don't like empty space. I love details everywhere, filling up every little corner, every little crook and nanny, just shapes and colours everywhere. Anyway, I still had this purple shade, so I was going in to the big flowers with that, and then I used the lighter pinks for the flowers that go over the top of the bigger flowers. So with that purple paint, I made the stupid idea of mixing in some purple glitter paint with the purple paint, and the glitter paint takes ages to dry, so I had to sit there and then blow dry it for like a good minute or so. It was just horrendous. Anyway, I've remembered that I had leftover green paint, so I'm going in and I'm filling up this big blank space with a swirl. Keep in mind, the whole time that I was painting this, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no concept for what it would end up looking like in my head. I was just doing whatever I thought would look good at the moment. And you know what? That ended up looking amazing in the end. But blow drying again, because again, I am extremely impatient when it comes to paint drying. And I just really didn't want to smudge more paint onto the cover. That was not fun. Anyway, painting the little mini flowers with the light pink finally. I just realized that in the video, these colours look a lot more muted and lighter than they do in person. In person, this is very bright and vibrant, and a lot more like dull, dusky with the paint colours, not as pastel. It's a lot more saturated in real life, as acrylic markers are. Not markers, paint. Anyway, I was coming in with the rest of my yellow to paint this massive 2, and it ended up just looking like a squiggle. But it works, you can kind of tell that it's a 2. The font is just really wacky, I think. Anyway, this took so many coats because yellow is just such a light and opaque colour. Painting on the black cover with yellow, just a straight yellow, was probably a little bit of a mistake, but I did get there in the end after just layering upon layering upon layering. At this point, this is where I started to actually really love the sketchbook cover. If you have seen my introduction video, the cover for my last sketchbook was kind of poo. It was so boring. There was nothing really going on. It was just a simplistic blue background with some water lilies on it. But this sketchbook is just, it's whimsical, it's bright, it's vibrant, it's colourful, it's not boring and basic. And speaking of boring and basic, I thought that this was looking very flat and dull. So I go in with some golden glitter glue, because I wanted it to sparkle and shimmer and shine. Oh, look at that gorgeous colour. This was also kind of like a big mistake because the yellow paint was still a little bit wet, so I ended up like blending and smudging together a little bit, but it still looks good in the end. Alright, so I'm just going to use some like pens and whatnot and do line art and a last couple touch-ups and whatnot, and I'll also use some washi tapes just to get this done. And I'm going to do it off camera because my phone's nearly flat and because the video is getting long. It is completed! Yay! Really dark outside, so I'm just using my ring light to kind of light it up, but the colours aren't coming through. I just put on my lamp. And let me see how the different lights make it look. Yikes. Okay. Alright. I'm just gonna leave it on the warm light. But she is complete. She's got, it's not the best shot because again the lighting is off. And don't worry, you guys will definitely see it in the future when I'm done my other sketchbook. But she's so pretty, like look at her. Oh, look at her. Look at all the sparkles and all the washi tape, oh my god. Shiny. I can't spell, unfortunately, but that's just a skill issue. Sketchbook number 2. Yay! I will do a video on the welcome spread in the future, and I will see you guys then. Alright, bye for now, and thank you for watching. If you liked this video, feel free to consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all that YouTube talk. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.